Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today, this is yet another unplanned video. It's stuff happened and I was going to do some orchid work, and I decided, well, let's just make a video out of it. This is might be how to make how to take a lemon and make lemonade. So I had a little bit of an issue with one of my orchids after Hurricane Milton came through the area. So the hurricane knocked over the bougainvillea that was on the top of my shed, knocked it over into the palm trees that were in front of it. And the palm trees were shading one of my orchids, and so everything got really shaded, and it just fell over the top of it. It did some damage to the plant itself, but then the major damage was because it created such a closed space that this orchid just was severely infested with black rot, and so that orchid is and was Cattleya clear stars, and so it was sad because I had this plant for so long. I used it in my crosses, and it was a great plant, and it is a clear stars is a hybrid between nodosa and another little larger Cattleya, and so what it does is it makes a really nice bloom. Really liked it. Not as fragrant as I would like, so I crossed it with some of my fragrant ones, and we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, what happened as a result of that is the majority of the plant died. The whole plant didn't die, but the majority of the plant died. All right, so let's get back to what's going on right here. So this is, right here, is clear stars, and the person that shared his clear stars with me surprisingly wasn't angry with me for killing the plant that he gifted to me, but instead said, I got another one. So yesterday he gifted me this, which is, and what happens with orchids, if you know what you're doing, you're growing them right, is they get big. You divide them, they get big again, you divide them again, and you have, as a propagator, you have a unlimited supply of orchids. So cloning the orchids, dividing the orchids, is the same as cloning the orchids. So this is clear stars right here. It's a nice, large, star-shaped Cattleya, and it has, like I said, it has Bougainvillea and nodosa in the background. One of the parents actually is Bougainvillea and nodosa, but this thing is growing over the side of the pot. The flower is just beautiful. It has that light star-shaped, white cream-colored star-shaped petals and sepals. The lip it has that broad open lip that is in this specific plant that's purple. Now I've seen some, if you look on Orchid Roots, you can see some other variations of the same cross, and it's got some really interesting, some of the other clear stars that I've seen have some really interesting patterning that's going on in the lip, but this one is still, it's nice, it's big, it's dark. The flower on this plant is going to open up a little bit more. It's going to be a little flatter. I did bring this into an orchid show. I thought it might, my original plant, I thought it was nice enough to be judged, but it never got pulled for judging. It was, the flowers looked really good. I wasn't looking for the right things. I don't know how to properly judge these. I'm not an orchid judge. I have no desire to be an orchid judge, but it just got passed, and it didn't win anything, and that's fine. I still like the flower, and a lot of my stuff that I do with orchids, I do for me and what I like. Okay, so this is clear stars. Right here, he gifted me this plant. I'm going to add it to my collection. It's actually growing over the side of the pot. It could itself be repotted, but what happened is I took that original clear stars plant that I had, and here's an image. I'm going to put it on the side of the screen of what that clear star plant star's plant look like after the Bougainvillea fell on it, and I removed the Bougainvillea, and you can see the black rot on this plant, and it just was horrific. So black rot is caused by not a regular fungus, but an oomycete called Phytophthora. It is controlled by with different fungicides, with specific fungicides, a little different from what most other fungi are controlled with. But what happened is this plant was just so severely infected, and what you need to do with a black rot infected plant is cut off all of the infected leaves and then treat the plant. So you're going to peroxide treat it. I took all of the infected leaves off. I then let the plant rest for a little while, and then cut the rest of the infected leaves off. And then I sprayed it off really well with water, and then applied a specific fungicide that was for black rot. I took the plant then and just tore it apart, took it apart. It was a little bit bigger than this one right here, and I broke it up and I made 4 divisions. And again, most of the divisions, because it was so severely infected, I had to cut most of the leaves off. Usually what you try to do when you divide a plant is get 3 to 4 pseudobulbs with leaves associated with that. And with this plant, I didn't have that many on some of the divisions that I made. So I took the plant apart, cut all of the roots off, took all the infected leaves off, again, sprayed all of the pieces off really well, and then let this sit for a little while, and then I treated with a specific fungicide yet again, just to cut pieces of clear stars. And I'm going to put this aside right here and make sure the flowers don't end up getting smushed. And I want to show you what those pieces look like, because yay, we're going to pot those up today. All right, so what I did is I took these pieces, and you can't tell what this is. This looks like a little small one of these, but there's actually 3 divisions that are in here. There's no medium. There's no, I bought these things in lava stone and leca, and the parent, the owner of this, the previous owner of this plant used bark and charcoal and things like that. But this is just an empty slotted pot, plastic pot, and I just put the pieces down in here, and I treated this, and I think I did this maybe around, this was about 2 weeks ago, maybe, let's just say 3 weeks ago to be safe. I put it in this container, hung it up on my fence like this in the shade, and just let it sit. Now, what's happened, and this is surprisingly fast, because this is really, and it kind of indicates what kind of vigorous plant this is. But what happened with these pieces and parts is, and here's one of the pieces right here, it does have a lot of pseudobulbs on it, but it only has one with a leaf, and this one has, maybe a third or a quarter of a leaf right here. But what happened on these and the other ones that I'm going to pull out here, I'm going to do this carefully, because what happened is I got incredible root formation on these plants. And so what I'm going to do, I got to be careful, because these are small, delicate roots, and I want to be very careful when I handle these plants so that I don't drop them and knock the roots off. But what I have on this, and I'll have a close-up of this as you lay these down on the table. This one actually has a lot of pseudobulbs and 4 with leaves, which is really nice. And then this one has, again, a lot of pseudobulbs and 3 with leaves, which is also nice. But what's going on in these things is you're getting really nice root growth that's coming out of these things. Sometimes you can see an eye that is starting to form on this plant, and sometimes it's not quite as apparent. But these new roots, these bright green, very vigorous roots, are maybe, I'm gonna guess about, maybe around 2 centimeters long, not even that, a little less than, maybe 1 to 2 centimeters long, which is about a ½ inch long. Some of them are No, they're all pretty small. But there's no roots on this plant. Okay, so this is going to give me, I think, 3 successful divisions of this plant. I did have a 4th division that had even fewer pseudobulbs on that. That had no roots on that, and what I did is I shoved that into my palm tree. All right, so what I'm going to do is show you how I pot these up, how I stabilize them, and how I treat these plants. And these will, I mean, they look really, really good. So this is going to be a successful division. Now, ideally, what you want is a really nice Cattleya, an overgrown nice Cattleya that you can separate apart and take a lot of the roots off. And again, you do that once you have this new root growth. And that's what you want ideally, is to separate nice big healthy plants. And this one was infected. Now there's no remnant here of the pathogen that I can see on this plant. There's no remnant of the pathogen that caused this plant to really look so bad so quickly. There's no remnant because I took all the pieces off that were infected. I washed it off, cleaned it off very carefully, and it's been treated with fungicide, the proper fungicide, a few different times. And then again, I continue to wash and fungicide treat. So this thing looks really good. I have to really keep an eye out for any type of infection of the plant. But I think I'm good now. But what I'm going to use also is which is what I tend to do with my Cattleyas, I'm going to use a very light mix where there's going to be minimal moisture retention in that mix, and that is going to be leca and lava stone. Now, when I put these, in here and when I pot them up, again, I'm going to be able to see, pot them at the right level so you can see how the roots that are forming. I'm going to be very careful not to knock the roots off. That's one of the worst things that you can do. Video, so I'm probably going to do one of the worst things that I can do. And I'm going to treat these, I hope you can tell I'm laying them down very carefully, gingerly, because I want to protect them and I don't want to ruin these things. So I'm going to treat them very carefully. I'm going to get them stabilized in the pot, and then I'm going to put them in an area where they get good ventilation, because I don't want to deal with any more rot issue. The 3 pots that I was going to use, and when you do something like this, you can use these are just I have a lot of these. These are my standard size pots, and this is what I'm going to use. The way that I stabilize, that I grow most of my Cattleyas, most of my plants, is I grow them in these terracotta pots with hangers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hanger on here like this, and I'm going to put, let's see which one, this is going to be, I'm going to put this one in first, and I'm not sure if I want to show you how I do all of them, but I'll certainly show you one or 2 of them. Okay, so what I always do is I add, this is going to take a while, so I add this is the lava rock or lava stone. So I put this in the bottom. These are big pots, but this plant is going to grow really, really quickly. And the lava rock, what it does is it tends to give you a really dry mix. Okay, so this is, and I'm gonna, just because I have everything out here, it's hard to get a good handful of this stuff. Maybe there's a better way to do this. I don't know. But I'm just gonna fill up all 3 of these pots. I'm gonna put a lot of lava stone in the bottom. The thing is, what I'm not going to show you, at least on camera, is watering these plants afterwards. When you get lava stone and when you get the fresh leca, which is the next thing that's going to go in here, they come with a little bit of residue on them. So you got to make sure that you wash that residue off. Water it well, and what'll happen, this stuff is red. This is, just so you know, this is lava rock right here. This is a real one of the more economical potting mixes that you can buy. This you can get at most of the the big box home improvement store. And I got these things filled up maybe a third of the way with a lava rock, just because it is an economical material. What I'm going to do next is put this in here. So the new roots are growing out of this side of this plant. So I'm going to put the plant up against the side of the pot like this. I'm going to use the cross pieces on the hanger to hold these things in place, and I'm going to have the new growth is going to be going out into the pot, and the old growth, which is back here, is going to be towards the edge of the pot. So what I'm going to do, and what I have to do is kind of position this and see how it positions. So I think I want this like this. One thing I'm going to do that I'm just noticing, and again, very careful with my tissue, is that this, for some reason, I don't know why, I reuse these, and for some reason, and I make these, I've got a video, these might have got bashed in the hurricane because these are all bent. And so I'm going to make this so it is and that's a little bit better direction right there. So the hanger was in a direction so that it was kind of going sideways. So I kind of straightened it up. Let me straighten it up just a little bit more. And I think that's good. Okay, so the other thing that you need to be aware of is I'm probably going to hang at least one of these on my fence, and so that's going to hang off the fence there. So again, I want to have this positioned so that the new growth is coming out and it's the middle of the pot. The old growth will be at the end of the pot, but I want to have this positioned just like this, and then this will be hanging on my fence. All right, so how do I do this? I got to be careful laying this down. So this is my twist tie, and so what I'm going to do is cut a couple of pieces of twist tie, and I'm going to use this twist tie to attach pretty tightly this pseudobulb to the hanger. All right, so let me cut and get another twist tie. And again, there's a lot of things I'm anal about. And this is one of those things that I really want to make sure that I get this positioned just right. So I am going to move this pseudobulb and this leaf, being careful not to damage the roots that are in the middle of the pot. So I'm going to get everything positioned, and I'm going to do it about like this. So the next thing to go in here, and what's going to stabilize this thing in here all the way, is leca. So this is the leca. This is the light expanded clay aggregate, and I love this stuff, and I use it a lot. The thing about the leca is that I use it, and when my plants die, I actually take the leca into the laboratory and re-autoclave it. Okay, and this is giant leca, which is what I like, which you need for a situation like this. You need it because you want the giant leca, means lots of air spaces. I mean, these balls of leca are just huge. So these are the balls of the leca, and they're huge, which means lots of air in between. So what I have is right here, and this rhizome, the bottom of this plant is just running along the top of the soil. So it's going to hang like this on the fence. The new growth is right here. This thing is sitting on the top. It's in here because of how I have it tied up. It's in there very stably. All right, so what I'm gonna do, oh, and then the last thing, the last thing that I do with these things is I label. So I put a label on here and I use these plastic labels right here. I'll write the clear stars, I'll write RP for repotted, and then today's date. What I'm gonna do with pencil on a white plastic tag. Some people, when they do tag stuff, they like putting a second tag and putting it down in the pot because they're afraid that the tag is going to get picked out by a bird on the top part of the pot. I've never had that happen to me. I've heard stories. I've never had that happen to me. I have enough orchids, so I don't want to write 2 tags for each orchid. Anyway, what I'm going to do is probably going to keep my mouth shut for a little while and do this quickly and speed it up so you can see what the other ones look like. So I'm going to do the rest of them. I'm going to do the same thing, and just you can watch it and see how it goes. All right, so let me work on this one and this one, and we'll slow it down again at the end for you. Okay, so we are back, and so I got all these guys potted up. The other thing, and I am going to put tags in there, just like this, and I'll write on all 3 tags. But the last thing that I wanted to show you is that sometimes I do this right away, sometimes it takes me a while, but this is Nutricoat, and so I fertilize my orchids once a week, and I've had videos on how I do this. But then what I also do is okay, well, what was that? So I guess I ran out of juice on the last video I shot. It went too long. I apologize for that. But what I wanted to do was finish up. So what I was showing you at the end before I got cut off was the Nutricoat application to my newly potted up orchids. And I like to do that. I use regular fertilizer, a weekly water-soluble fertilizer application in addition to the time release. The time release is sometimes when I'm gone, I just like to make sure that when my irrigation comes on and my orchids are watered, I like to make sure that they're getting some level of nutrients. And so that's what I do. What I want to do, the final thing, and it'll just take a minute, is I want to show you, because I had to wait for my battery to get recharged. I put all of my orchids in their I guess their temporary home, and I want to show you. I got 2 of them that are located pretty close to each other, and I want to show you what they look like. I got them. I put them there. They're on the fence. They're watered, and I just want to give you a quick look. So these are a couple of the plants, and they're positioned. It's on the left bottom and right top. And it's kind of hard to see what's going on because of the sun is so intense. But what you can see is I have these plants that are sitting on top of the leca, and you can see the root I hope right there that's coming out. There's one on the bottom of this pseudo bulb that's coming out. So what should happen is these guys should do okay. I have my tag right there that you can see, but this is just going to sit now. I got, again, I have things positioned so that the old growth is back at the edge of the pot and the new growth is going towards the center. So hopefully it'll grow in, and as fast as these grow, I think it'll do pretty well. The second plant that I want to show you is right here. And it's the same type of thing. There is, you know, the old growth is at the edge of the pot. The new growth is coming right there in the middle. And you can see the root that's coming down from that. And I've kind of, and then there's another root, I think, that's, that may be right there. But I kind of left things, you know, the way that it works with this is you leave things kind of exposed. The roots will grow down, the orchids will kind of find their way, and they'll fill in, and they'll kind of work their way along the leca at the top of the pot. So these are two of the plants. The other one is in another location. But as you can see, they're hanging on the fence. They're in the shade, and hopefully they'll grow well and do well. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for you again today. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.